Yeah, I've been a professional speaker now for 35 years. And my, oh my, how time flies. And sometimes I forget my history until someone comes up to me and said, you know, I was in a high school assembly when you came and presented the Just Say No program to our student body. Whoa, am I getting old? I was the guy in the Reagan White House. Mrs. Reagan brought me in to be the guy, the go-to guy, the key public speaker, if you will, to take her Just Say No Positive Choices program to all 50 states. Think about it. So between 1983 and 1989, I spoke in thousands and thousands of schools to over 6 million teenagers because most schools averaged about 2,000 to 3,000 students per school, 3 to 4 schools every day for 140 school days a year for those years. Yeah, do the math. I was in the room when they decided that we would create the Red Ribbon Week, one of 5 people who voted to tie those ribbons on the chain link fences around our elementary schools. I'm really proud of that part of my legacy. What I want you to remember about this experience, though, is that during that exact same time frame, 1983 to 1989, our country was experiencing an epidemic of suicides, a pandemic of suicides in our teenage population. And I was part of that, and especially part of the prevention process that we're scrambling to put into place to keep it from continuing on. I was flown into Plano, Texas, the Beverly Hills of Dallas. They had 6 suicides in their high school in one day, 7 in the same week. Whoa. I was flown to the shore of New Jersey. They had suicides, and that's one of the more affluent areas in our country, Ocean Township, Asbury Park, Long Branch. I had one of my offices in Stamford, Connecticut. In Greenwich, Connecticut, one of the highest per capita income counties or areas in our country, usually leads the country in teenage suicides. And I was brought into Dubuque, Iowa. I won't tell you the name of the high school to protect the names and the neighborhood, if you will. But I was flown into town with a woman by the name of Charla Ross from San Mateo, California, the national co-chairperson for suicide prevention. She had been doing the talk show circuit. She wrote the book. She was clearly the expert. So when we came into town and went to this high school that had 2,000 students, she divided the student body in half. She took 1,000 students into the theater and she did the left brain cognitive psychobabbling neurotechnical stuff, the science side of what drugs will do and where the cannabinoids or whatever basically settle in your body and in your fatty tissues. I took the other half of the student body, another 1,000 students, into the gymnasium. And we did the right brain, touchy-feely, laughing and crying, storytelling stuff. We swapped audiences, tried to repeat our performance to the best of our ability. And then at the end of the day, we individually interviewed every single one of these students who had attempted suicide and survived. Think about this. We invited in the school administrators, the school counselors, and the healthcare professionals. And we personally interviewed every single one of the students who had attempted suicide and survived. How many do you think there were? 5? Whoa, 10? There were 100 suicide attempts. One girl passed away, beautiful head cheerleader, and the rest survived. They did not complete their suicides. As we interviewed every single one of these students, do you know what we discovered? Especially as we looked at their records, 73% of them were on the honor roll, the best students in school. Their names are up on the wall. They get all the accolades from the teachers because they validate that the teachers, you all know that you're getting through to them because they're learning something. 6 of them were the elected student body officers of the school. They just won a blooming popularity contest. And what are these brainiacs and these student body officers saying? Thank you so much for this attention, but I still have something missing. I still have a giant hole in my heart. Please help me. Please, what about me? 6 of them were football stars. 3 of them were the most amazing musicians I'd ever seen in my life. I saw a videotape of their band. They could sing, they could dance. Why would they want to die? 3 of them were cheerleaders. Talk about getting attention. Every time the school meets for some competitive event, they're in front of the student body doing their thing. Why would they want to give up on themselves? Why would they want to take their lives? Every single one of these 99 students who had attempted suicide and survived that we were able to interview told us the reason why they wanted to kill themselves was because they lacked commitment relationships in their lives. do you? Let's pause for a moment. What's a commitment? Yeah, it's a promise. Good answer. Yeah. Would you agree that it's a two-way deal? Yeah. When you say what you're going to do and I say what I'm going to do, there's no commitment. But when you do what you say you're going to do and I do what I say I'm going to do, a commitment is formed. And when the water in the lake goes up, all the boats rise together. To deepen our understanding of commitment, let me introduce another word, love. I think about it a lot. How many of you are in love? Again, let me see a show of hands. How many of you are in love? Is this your wife right here? Are you a married couple? You're not? You know, it's so funny. When I said, how many of you are in love? She raised her hand and then she looks at you and you went just like this. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty funny. Love is a commitment, not a way of feeling. Do you agree? Let me ask again. Do you agree that love is a commitment, not a way of feeling? Romance is not love. Romance comes from a Greek word that means erotic. So I don't even want to talk about it. But if I love you because you're beautiful, that's romance. If you're beautiful because I love you, that's real love. It's a value-creating love that inspires us to be the best that we can be. Yet how many of us confuse love, commitment with romance, emotion? What have we said our whole lives? Oh, I love her so much, she makes me feel differently than I've ever felt before. Oh, I love him so much, he makes me feel differently than I've ever felt before. So do breakfast burritos. If you think you're in love, just maybe you need a long, cold shower and a box of Rolaids. What's my point? I love you means absolutely nothing unless we back it up with action. So the three most powerful commitment-oriented words in this world are not, I love you, regardless of how we've been massaged to believing it through our music and through our movies. The three most powerful commitment-oriented words in this world are I need you. Not dependence, not codependence. I need you. Let me illustrate. I got into music in a very interesting way. I've written songs forever, never had a courage to sing in public until one of my good friends decides he's going to get married. He phones me up, Clark, will you write a song for my wedding? I said, sure. He said, will you sing it? I said, no. In the next few minutes, he convinced me that we were best friends, that we went back a long ways, that it would be cool if I participated with him in his special day. I couldn't turn him down. I don't think any of you could have turned him down either. So I wrote the song. 2 days later, he phones me back. Clark, the band just called and canceled. Could you prepare about 40 or 50 songs and play for the whole wedding reception? I said, no. He said, I need you. What a jerk. And he said, I love you. I'd have said, I love you too, man. Here's the number of a band. But he said, I need you. He made me feel like I was not just good. I was good for something, that my little weird-shaped puzzle piece really did fit, that I could make a significant contribution. I couldn't turn him down. And I don't think any of you could have turned him down either. I practiced. I prepared. Finally, his wedding reception rolls around on the calendar. He makes a big deal out of my first little love song, gathers everybody around. I sat on the stool, played my little song. Everybody's crying. They disperse, start to have the refreshments, start to socialize. I sang the first song out of the 40 or 50 songs that I practiced and prepared, and all of a sudden the band shows up. Miscommunication. Now, I'm not foolish. I don't want to sit on a stool and sing all night. I want to eat like everybody else does. So I gladly helped the band set up all of their equipment. Now you think about this for a moment. When I arrived at that wedding, I arrived with the attitude in mind that I was needed. I would have stayed till 4 o'clock in the morning if necessary. I would have waited tables. I would have wiped tables. I would have swept the floor. Someone spills. I wouldn't have waited for a custodian. Give me the mop. I have ownership. I'll clean it up. I would have sung 100 songs if necessary. I'd have made some up. But the second the band shows up, realistically, I am no longer needed. They can do without me, so why hang around? And I didn't. I left the wedding reception. We can fool others all day long, but we can't ever fool ourselves. And I left the wedding reception because I was no longer needed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the message coming through loudly and clear from not only young people across our land, but from the millennials, the Gen Xers, we baby boomers, every single grandparent, every single pay grade in your organization, the entry-level employees, the emerging leaders, the seasoned executives. Every single one of us is crying from within, praise me, punish me, but please don't ignore me. I'm important too. And if we can't get attention for doing something positive, the motivator is attention, so we're going to do something negative. And I promise that every single person who's ever completed his or her suicide, if some way we could bring them back and interview them, in my heart of hearts, I don't believe that they would complete their suicide again. I think if we gave them one more day, reminding them that in 2 more days, tomorrow's yesterday, and all we did was help them feel needed and gain control of their lives again, they could hang on for one more day at a time. Isn't that interesting that every single one of these students in Dubuque, Iowa, told us they knew they were liked, they knew they were loved, but they didn't believe they were needed. And when we don't feel like we're needed, why hang around? So the most provocative question I could ask from this stage today is, are you needed? And here's the kicker. Because of the society in which we live that most of us have helped create, we can't afford to wait for somebody else to tell us or show us that we are needed. It might not ever happen. A couple of years ago, I spoke 202 times, all 50 states, 21 countries, and never once did anyone ever come up to me after my speech and say, how are you? How you doing? You don't care. So what was I supposed to do? Just go back to my hotel room, feel sorry for myself, and nobody likes me, guess I'll just go eat worms? No. The secret is to understand that the kicker word in commitment relationships is to participate more and get involved. That's the proven process. That's the simple step-by-step, time-tested formula for coming back from disappointment, discouragement, sadness, even depression. It's the natural phase that we call resiliency that all of us can access if we are willing to do whatever it takes to prove to ourselves on a daily basis that we are needed. So again, the kicker word in commitment relationships is to participate more, get involved. If you don't feel like you're needed at home, participate more, get involved. If you don't feel like you're needed in your children's lives, participate more, get involved. If you don't feel like you're needed in your community, volunteer more, participate more. If you don't feel like you're needed in our country, which obviously needs to heal, instead of kicking back or only protesting, why not get involved in a good, clean, pure, powerful, positive way to participate in the healing process to build back America to the greatest country that it's always been? Yeah. The secret to resiliency is the secret to relationship management, and it's the secret to having everlasting relationships based on I need you, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to participate in your life so that together we rise.